Hi, my name is Carrie Hunt. I am going to tell you today about my internship with Love and Logic. I am a student based out of Phoenix, Arizona. This summer when I was looking for an internship, I asked a friend who works at our local elementary school if the school district offered any parenting classes for the parents of the students. He said that he didn't at our local school, but that they might at some of the Title I schools in the district. Then he said that he did hear that our recently retired vice principal, who I knew casually myself, was now a Love and Logic facilitator, and maybe she would know about it. So I asked my friend if he wouldn't mind contacting her on my behalf and asked if it would be okay if I reached out to her. So he did. He gave me her information. I sent her an email, reintroduced myself, and told her about my schooling and how I was looking for an opportunity to do family life education in the community for my internship. She offered to take me on as her assistant for her fall schedule of teaching workshops. And she began to train me and give me materials to read so that I could be prepared in the summertime to be prepared for the things that she was going to be teaching that fall. So as a Love and Logic facilitator, I studied the materials for the 3 different courses that she taught, just so I could become fluent in the Love and Logic method of disciplining children, the language, the principles. The courses that my facilitator taught were video-based and also based on a workbook that the class members would go through and discussions that they would go through throughout the course. So my internship supervisor's name was Cynthia King. As I said, she has a master's degree in education administration, but after she retired, she decided she wanted to continue with a little bit of work, so she decided to become a facilitator herself, and she teaches throughout the area in schools, in community centers, or whoever reaches out to her. This is kind of her profile. These are the 3 different courses that we taught throughout my internship. Parenting the Love and Logic Way, Love and Logic Early Childhood Parenting Made Fun, and 9 Essential Skills for the Love and Logic Classroom. With my supervisor, we taught 1 session introduction to the Love and Logic strategies for the classroom at Peoria Elementary, which teaches elementary and middle school. That same school received a Title I grant to fund our teaching of the course up here on the right, the Parenting with Love and Logic Way. So we also began that course, which will actually continue throughout the school year. And even though my internship is over, I'm going to continue to go with her because I enjoy doing it and she enjoys having me with her. We also taught a 4-week early childhood parenting course at the Civic Center, a local civic center that parents could sign up through the community. We taught a 3-session early childhood parenting course to a parents group in Phoenix. It was just hosted in a private home. As the semester went on, it became clear that the hours that she had scheduled already to teach that fall were going to be insufficient to meet the time requirements for the BYU-Idaho internship. Concerned about this, I talked to my professor at BYU-Idaho, and I suggested I talk to Cindy King and see what she thought I could do. And she gave me permission to use her materials to teach any courses or sessions that I could come up with on my own. So I contacted friends and was able to book several more workshops throughout the course of the semester in order to have lots of teaching hours. I ended up teaching 2 different groups, the full 6-week Parenting with Love and Logic course. And I would report to her about my experiences, ask questions, get any other extra supplemental materials from her. I also taught a 4-session group to another group of moms, and a 3-session group to actually a bunch of young students who were attending Midwestern medical school here in our area. So some of these groups were just moms and some were with both moms and dads, which is extremely valuable, I found. when you have both the mother and the father there. So in total, on my own, without her there, I ended up teaching 21 love and logic classes, each of those being between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours long, depending. And then with my supervisor, I participated in 9 workshops. So throughout the semester, I taught a total of 30 love and logic workshops. I read 2 love and logic, books, all 3 of these systems here, and then listened to 3 love and logic books on CD. I created additional handouts, PowerPoints, and visuals to enhance the learning of my workshops as well. I'm going to just show this quick video to describe a little bit about how the love and logic system works. Oh, that's not it.
Hi, this is Dr. Charles Fay of the Love and Logic Institute, and did you know that there are people all over the world teaching love and logic, and that's the best way to learn. Get in one of those local classes and learn with other people who are struggling with the same issues that you're struggling with. Now, it's important that you understand the difference between just exposure and training in love and logic. Now, it's fine to go to a class or an exposure where you have just a one-day event or maybe a 2-hour event. That's good exposure, and that has changed a lot of people's lives, but that's not real training. So how do you spot a real love and logic class? Well, a real love and logic class is taught in at least 4 to 6 separate sessions. That way the people are able to learn in the session, go home, or go back into their classroom and experiment, and then go back into the next session and talk with the trainer and each other about their experiments. Talking about those experiments, having the time to practice in between sessions is absolutely essential. So while there are some trainers that provide one-day events, that's exposure. If you really want to learn this well, that's not enough. You need the training where you practice, and talk with other people about your experience. You also need to make sure that you're getting a workbook that goes along with the class. See, some trainers, sometimes we call them facilitators, they provide the workbook for you. Others ask you to purchase the workbook from them. It really depends on the person you're taking the class from. But having that workbook is essential. That is part of that repeated exposure. Research tells us that people need to hear it, they need to see it, they need to read it, they need to write it, and they need to be talking with their friends about it. And most importantly, they need to be doing it and experimenting and going back and talking about. So again, make sure you get into a real love and logic class for the ultimate level of training and success with your kids. Again, as a review, real love and logic class, at least 4 to 6 separate sessions, time in between to experiment and practice. Make sure you have that workbook. If you have any questions, give us a buzz, give us a call, 800-338-4065, or you can go to our website, use the live chat. We can help you find a local trainer. Thanks for listening.
All right. So I benefited Cynthia King, according to her, because she always teaches these workshops alone, and she didn't realize how helpful it would be to have another person helping her to set up, helping her with the computer, advancing the slides, making sure the projector was going, interacting and answering questions, and getting discussions going. When I worked with her, there would be times when she would teach a portion, and then I would get up and I would teach the next section of the class. And then when it was time for discussions, we would both go around and we would ask questions and engage with the class members. So it was really helpful to have a second person there. I also created handouts with the principles we learned for that day for parents to hang up as a reminder. But I really felt that I benefited probably the most from this, just because I did so much of it, the teaching that I did on my own. I've really developed as a teacher. Some of the skills I developed, I think, just is learning to teach principle-based classes where we do share examples and case studies, but we always go back to the principles, and Love and Logic is really big into that. I learned that instead of just answering a question, if I can allow parents to look at the principle and then try to find the answer for themselves, or allow the classmates to try to find those answers, getting them talking really facilitated them thinking on their own and learning instead of just being fed and it seeming to be just, kind of this principle way out in the sky. They made it real. I also learned ways to get a new audience or a new group at ease and get them talking and sharing rather than just kind of having that awkward silence. I learned that I tend to have a habit of interrupting students, or not interrupting, but wanting to jump in and validate students as they're sharing their comments. But I learned to kind of hold back, keep my mouth shut, let them talk, and then validating at the end. I learned to listen to ideas respectfully that might contradict either what I'm teaching or that maybe need some clarification, and then respectfully and kindly to see if I can turn that towards a more positive spin. I learned that lecturing and watching videos is only the beginning, as we just saw in that video. To sink in, parents really need those practical examples, writing exercises, oral practice, and group discussions, giving 1 or 2 small skills to practice during the week, and then following up with them the following week really helps to cement it. It is super important that these are weekly with small baby steps that aren't too overwhelming. Not giving too much information at once when it comes to parenting is vital. So here are some of the few things that I learned or that we taught. We learned about the trust cycle, the importance of meeting basic needs of our infants. But then as they get older and securing that trust and security and bond, and continuing that bond throughout life, but beginning to learn the difference between a child's wants and needs as time goes on. The 2 basic rules of love and logic. Adults must set firm, loving limits using enforceable statements without showing anger, lecturing, or using threats. And when a child causes a problem, the adult shows empathy through sadness and sorrow, and then lovingly hands the problem and its consequences back to the child. So instead of being the drill sergeant and wagging our finger at our children, or being the helicopter parent and resentfully rescuing our children from everything they do wrong and helping them to not feel the full effects, we are loving consultants standing next to our children and facing the problems and mistakes that they face. We're facing those together. So here's some principles. We want to build the self-concept, share control, have empathy, and then deliver consequences, love and empathy, and then share the thinking and the problem solving. Okay, here's the rules of the consequences. Consequences should fit the misbehavior, be respectful to the child and to you. The focus is on the bad choices, not bad children. To address the present. Number 4, consequences should be wrapped in a loving blanket of empathy. Number 5, must be enforceable, be able to follow through with them consistently. They should avoid lecturing, nagging, reminding, or laying a guilt trip. And consequences should teach your children wisdom, not to punish them because we're angry and we want to be in control of them, but because we want them to learn wisdom for the future. So a formula for low self-concept, if that's what you happen to want for your children: fault-finding, criticism, and doing everything for them, withholding the joy of independent success. Formula for a high self-concept: empathy and love, understanding, and allowing them the joy of independent success, teaching them to think through their own problems and find solutions. So if you would like this internship for yourself, the best thing probably would be to search for local trainers. So you would go to www.loveandlogic.facilitators/search. You can look in your state, and they will list everyone who is a certified trained facilitator. In Idaho alone, in Idaho Falls alone, I think there were 5, but there's plenty of them all around the United States. Thank you for watching today, and I wish you good luck, and I would definitely encourage anybody who thinks that they enjoy working with parents and teaching family life principles to seek out an opportunity to work with a Love and Logic facilitator to teach these very, very sound principles in